Managers of Reddit, who is the dumbest employee you've had and after how long did you fire him or her? Had a guy who would call out to work with the excuse, "I'm just not really feeling it today." I wanted to tell him to just say that he was sick or just not give any reason. Anything would have been better. Took forever to fire him because of corporate attendance policies. Right. Hate this shit. I worked in a non-union position in a special needs school as a one-to-one with a girl who was fine the first year. Second school year she showed up an hour late to work every day, to the point where we planned around it. After the first 3 months she literally stopped showing up. She would come in maybe once a week. Traffic? Nah, not coming in. Not feeling well? Nah, not coming in. But she wouldn't even bother to text anyone until like 3 hours into work. In the end she quit. She wasn't fired, nobody fired her, she quit. Wasn't capable of firing anyone, but I did contract work that occasionally involved training new hires. Light construction was involved, as well as the usage of basic tools like mallets, screwdrivers, tape measures, etc. Had a guy come in for his first day on a site in Florida. Started showing him and a few others the ropes, and after about an hour, let them edit. Everyone was doing fine, and then I notice he's just setting things up without measuring first. I remind him I have several tape measures and a yardstick if he needs it. Turns out he couldn't read a ruler and didn't think that would be a problem in construction. It's just building, right? He did not last a week. Couple comes up to the register with 2 large bottles of liquor. Cashier puts the bottles in a bag, hands it to them, and sends them out. He did not ring it up or take any money. I saw it on the security camera. Me, why did you do that? Him, because they are black. Me, what? Him, black people are poor, they shouldn't be paying for booze. Where is this liquor store? I want in on this. Equipment lead in a manufacturing environment. My team did maintenance on the machinery. I had a guy who would come in and immediately hop on Craigslist. While everyone else was checking their emails and preparing for the shift, this guy would online shopping. He literally spent hours every shift paging through Craigslist. If he wasn't doing that, he was watching YouTube videos that either consisted of strongman competitions or attractive women working out. I repeatedly caught him lying about work he never did. He talked trash about every other employee and would frequently get into screaming matches with his wife over the phone. He screamed at me when I told him he couldn't spend 4 to 8 hours of a 12-hour shift on break. When I tried to correct his behavior, the typical response was either, "I don't give a shit," or, "What the fuck are you going to do about it?" He even went to my boss to complain when I gave him a poor annual review. Unfortunately, despite a mountain of documentation and repeated requests, I was not allowed to fire him because the company was so short-handed. Since he wasn't doing any work, it didn't really make any sense to me. When I finally quit, he had been there for almost 5 years and hadn't received a single raise, promotion, or bonus. To this day, he blames it all on me. Guy stole lottery tickets, but his way of doing it was exposing the barcode that the terminal scans to see if it's a winner. If it wasn't a winner, he put it back. If it was a winner, he cashed it out and filed it away with his paperwork. Now it sounds kind of clever, but we do lottery counts every morning, not to mention the fact that people who buy lottery would immediately notice if the barcode was already exposed. When I saw this, I immediately checked the camera and saw him from multiple angles doing this. He then also threw the winners in the trash after he cashed them and left the trash in the can overnight. Called the cops, they had all the evidence they needed. Arrested him, and I guess some poor soul took pity and posted his bail. He then texted me to tell me he quit. I told him it's hard to quit a job when you were officially fired while sitting in a holding cell. He was there for 2 weeks. Moral of the story, don't be a fucking idiot. Sent out a new contractor hire to install a 24 by 36 shelf. Simple, put the shelf into the shelf hole. He brought it back because it was too small and he needed a 36 by 24 shelf cut so it would fit properly. If someone had a problem like this, I would sorta help them, but I would use cryptic clues. So for this one, I would say, think differently to turn your world around, or something like that. A developer that was assigned to my QA team. He had already been shuffled through 3 or 4 actual dev teams, which is a bad sign. After the fact, my director let me know that he had been sent to mine on the off chance that he had been clashing with other devs and wasn't just incapable of working. If you assigned him a task, he'd work on it, but only until he encountered anything that could possibly be interpreted as a blocker. Then he'd surf the internet until someone came by to remove the blocker. He wouldn't ask anyone to help, he wouldn't seek solutions himself, he wouldn't do anything about it. So most times, he could manufacture something to free up his time within half an hour of starting anything. Like, I don't have access to the right repo. I'd swing by a day or two later, and he hadn't asked for access to the repository, he'd just be idle. After a month or so of progressively shortening intervals between checking in with him to see what the newest roadblock was, I was having to chat with him 4 times a day. Chatted with my boss about it, and we agreed that he should seek greener pastures. Also, he wore toe shoes, with no socks, that he never ever washed. I had an employee for months, who would help around the dining area, take orders, and help out with restock. Although he was a nice boy, he was very dumb, unable to focus, and a religious radical. Also a very racist white male, come to find out. Let's call him Alex. We train our employees for 2 full weeks and then we let them do it all on their own, while watching them, of course. Anyway, Alex couldn't remember how to write down a bacon, egg, and cheese taco, BC. I told him B for bacon, E for egg, and C for cheese. He wrote TC and proceeded to say, but T is for tocino because it's Spanish for bacon and we have Mexicans on the grill, right? How will they know? I said. Our employees all speak, read, and write in both languages. Also, why would you not write H for eggs and Q for cheese if you were writing in Spanish? Well, I thought they'd know that kind of English. Literally the next day, a woman, a regular by the way, comes in with her 2 children to pick up her order. Alex comes up and checks her out and gives her the order. He asks, "Your children are adorable. How old are they?" They carry on a conversation for a few minutes and he goes, "Well, what about Daddy? Just sent you on a mission to get the food, huh?" She responds with, "Their father isn't in the picture." He presses, "Oh, I'm sorry. Divorce is the devil. Actually, he was never in the picture. It was a one-night stand and when I contacted him, he never responded. I don't know where he is or if he's even alive, honestly." The face he made when she said that. I can't even describe it. Do you know how terrible that is? Yeah, he nev dash. Do you know what will happen to you and your children? Do you know you won't be let into heaven? You would do something so awful to your children? It's bad enough they're basically mutts, but now you've taken away their chance to God's palace? The owner stepped in right before I could. Safe to say that he was fired that very day. He tried to sue him, but the owner was smarter than him. I have never had anyone say something so ugly to a customer. It was horrible. I need to go home. I'm sweaty. 1 hour into the shift. Had an employee who disappeared for over 2 hours. She worked in the kitchen, where we have a no-bag policy, and lo and behold, she left her purse. I removed it and brought it to my office where she could return it later. A foul, chemical smell was coming from her bag that prompted me to search it, upon which I found stolen checks, stolen credit cards, pills in a baggie, about 1 gram of meth, and the source of the smell, an aluminum foil wrapper containing sherm. Her scumbag sixth sense must have been tingling because within a few minutes she comes to the office looking for her bag, sees her contraband, freaks out, and tries attacking me to get her stuff back. I had to take her to the ground and hold her until the cops arrived. Turns out she was on parole. Real class act. Sherm? Not sure if it's sherm or sherm, but the police explained it's embalming fluid soaked into tobacco. We had a guy in a restaurant I managed that scratched his ass in front of the health inspector. Needless to say, that was his last day. Had an employee we called Big Bird because he was huge and wore yellow coveralls. It was getting close to the end of the job and people knew layoffs were coming, construction. So another supervisor and I were doing a walkthrough of the site, and we had been wondering where Big Bird was hiding. We looked over and saw him standing at the back of a work truck. The other supervisor was pissed that he wasn't in his work area and wanted to march over and reprimand him. I said wait, while we observed the biggest of birds in his natural environment. Big Bird proceeded to open a vise on the back of the truck, then close it repeatedly for around 5 minutes just to look busy. After the last close of the vise, he looked over to see us 2 supervisors staring at him in black shades and hard hats. He proceeded to look startled and then walked around the far side of the truck's toolboxes to hide and pretend to look for tools. My other supervisor was going nuts at this point, and I was like, just chill, this is the best part. Big Bird then peekabooed around the side of the toolbox and saw we were still watching him. His shoulders slumped. He knew it was the end. Finally, we walked over and I asked Big Bird if today was his last day, and he said, "I guess it looks like it." I told he'd catch ya on the next one, and he sauntered into the sunset. Do you have a similar story? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.